Ho ho ho, and welcome back to a very holiday special episode of X is for Show, your premier media response show. Finishing out some of our exciting holiday coverage. I'm Nico, and you can check me out at Nico Action everywhere.
And I'm TK. You can check me out at TK Elemental, also everywhere.
And you can find me, your producer, at Kevo Really, most of the places. I try to be everywhere, but I just get so tired.
Well, you're everywhere to me.
Like Santa Claus.
Yeah. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Tom. As they say in Jingle Bell swag, Merry Christmas. Merry
Christmas.
Which is just a little bit of German rap Christmas music that everybody should definitely listen to once. We are here though today to celebrate the holidays with you guys. It's really, notable that a significant date for some people, but hey, just part of the holiday season for others. It falls on one of our show days. We're kind of Christmas Eve-y people, so we were really excited to share this with you guys, and then go do some other stuff maybe after. But it's always exciting to get to be part of other people's holiday, and it's just really special. And I'm really excited to be here with you guys and celebrate the season, and also the filmmaking of the season.
Yes.
So, does anybody have any actual holiday movie traditions that they just gotta every holiday?
Mixed nuts.
Okay.
That was the top one on my my Christmas marathon, and that is my Christmas movie every year. I just gotta. And it's also a bunch of those comedy Christmas specials, particularly the Community musical Christmas special. Well, they're both musicals, but the Claymation and the Glee send-up. Those are, I just love watching those.
I think for me, it's got to be some version of the Mencken Christmas Carol. And I guess something memey and now that I've watched it, Merry Little Batman Forever.
Yes.
But really, I think for me, it's more about hit touchstone hallmarks. Everything should appear every other year, every third year, maybe. But just keep it in your Christmas heart, and remember that the power of Christmas allows you to spy on your enemies and know what they're doing. So.
It's true. It's really true. A lot of Christmas movies are about spying and espionage. I don't know that I can winnow down what is my top holiday must-watch necessarily, but I think I can at least winnow it down to something Muppety.
Oh, that's
whether it's a Muppet Christmas Carol or the Fraggle Rock Christmas specials or even something super old school like Eureka's Castle. It's sort of like how we keep ending up going to Disney World at Christmas. We don't only love Disney World at Christmas. Disney World doesn't only mean Christmas to us, but we do love it. And there is something very special and magical about a Muppet Christmas.
And, I think there's something that really never crossed my mind before. Now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder how often one of the things that we come across is the loss of an iteration of a Christmas classic, like Muppet Christmas Carol. I feel not necessarily has fallen out of favor or fallen out of appreciated vogue, but I think because there's now so many versions of A Christmas Carol that are family accessible, that are kid accessible, I feel like perhaps this one in particular now blends in with a bigger tapestry instead of standing out quite so strongly. And in that same way, there are so many amazing Muppet Christmas things to celebrate that it sort of diluted the need for that to be the only Christmas thing that you do Muppety.
Deep, interesting perspective.
Especially because when I was putting together this list, one of the things that, so what we're here to do is, as they come up, that's what we do. But we're gonna put them in a bracket style duel, where it is going to be some unusual questions as per the description. I'm really excited to see which of the questions TK went with. This is going to be so exciting. He's not just handsome, but he's a creative genius.
I randomized for a bunch of these because I thought it was more fun. And I randomized, and then when I saw questions I didn't like, I filtered them out, and then I put stuff in. But I really wanted to see where you could have a little bit of silliness just from the pairing of movies, which in some cases is kind of random, and the questions being in a bit of a random place.
Yeah, I think what is Christmas without a little bit of chaos? And
Exactly.
and it keeps a little bit fresh for both of us. If I can monopolize the conversation for Muppets for just one more second, because I found
Always.
this thing that I had, and this is old now by this point, because this is just up to 2018 of every single Muppet Christmas thing up to 2018 that had been done. From the Great Santa Claus Switch in 1970 to A Very Muppet Baby's Christmas in 2018, which isn't even the last Muppet Baby's Christmas episode that they had on that series.
Wait, how many were there?
There's at least the other one that I talked about, A Mitzvah for Miss Nanny, because Miss Nanny is Jewish on New Muppet Babies. So, and that's not on here. That's A Very Muppet Baby Christmas. So there's a lot of Muppet Christmas things to watch. I could have made my entire 24-hour thing Muppets and still had some to spare. So God bless. This does have the one that I'm making us watch this year. We probably won't again. But someday, Robert Downey Jr. It's on. And until then, we're gonna bracket some classics.
Now, I tried to make this a reasonable list. I tried to, think about what makes a Christmas classic and what's just like, I like it, so everybody should. When you're asking me like the all-time greatest movies, 8-year-old Nico would say Surf Ninjas. So I tried not to make this something that catered to a very specific audience, like 8-year-old Nico. And so I went with like the highest grossing holiday film franchises, and then left out anything I'd either never heard of, didn't want to talk about, or thought was boring, and was still able to come up with 16 bangers. So
that's all fair. So we ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I am ready. All right. So first up, we've got a classic holiday pairing, The Grinch and Home Alone.
So I want to say that this is franchises. This is every version of The Grinch. So it's, it's Thurl Ravenscroft, 39.5-foot pole. And then it's the Jim Carrey. And then it's that one, which I've never
come
seen.
On My Back.
Yeah. I was convinced that this one had Matthew Morrison in it, but that's the musical.
Yes, that's the musical that Fox did. That's one of the live musicals they did. Yes.
Yeah. I just want to be clear. I think that like the Grinch has like fictional creature magic. Like he has like forest.
Wait.
Okay.
Before we go too far into the movie, we have to know what the question is going to be to bracket between these two, so we can be thinking about that perspective on the movies.
You're right. I didn't know if we wanted to talk a little bit about the movies, then get the question, but I really like that take as well.
Yeah, all out of the way at once.
Which would you rather see rebooted as a supernatural teen romance?
Oh my God, because it's either Sexy Teen Grinch or it's like Poltergeist House.
Can you say it again?
Which would you rather see rebooted as a supernatural teen romance?
Oh, this is tough because, like, first of all, I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I would do like Grinch as like a conflicted, Jacob or Edward, or I don't know what they're like. So angel-esque, like supernatural, like, and he's all tormented at his like sexy snow high school, and like, oh, I would go all in. Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. I was just talking with Jonah the other day about how I would really love to see, and I'm sad we never got any sort of sequel to the Jim Carrey of like how the Grinch saved Christmas, because a lot of our generation really latched on to the chemistry between Jim Carrey and Christine Baranski in that film. And like Taylor Momsen grew up to be a person, so like
Makes me
that would
want
have
to
been
die.
it would have been really cool to see the Grinch as this curmudgeon who was forced into a position after have his heart having grown however many sizes, and he's still the Grinch, but now as part of the community. It would have been a really fascinating thing to see. I think, and I lament the fact that we never got any sort of sequel like that. And I think there's always been that sort of potential for the Grinch to see him as this unwilling anti-hero, and I think perhaps that would work for a sort of supernatural teen romance. I don't think that Home Alone necessarily has any sort of supernatural to it. That would be more like a Scream the series, like we talked about yesterday.
I just want to say, Kevo, that there actually were plans for what you were talking about at one point, that there was going to be a crossover movie between Mike Myers' Cat in the Hat and Jim Carrey's Grinch, and they were working really hard to make that happen because, Kevo, exactly what you're talking about had such a cultural reverberation. I also want to apologize in case anybody missed that Taylor Momsen joke I made a moment ago. I guess I just wasn't thinking. That was pretty reckless of me. So...
Oh, tomato, tomato, tomato.
I actually did miss it.
Well, that also makes me want to die.
I did not miss it. I just ignored it. I mean, the most obvious compelling thing is the Grinch one by a mile. I just want to give a little toss out to Home Alone.
Oh,
which,
sure.
You know, is it the house that's magical, or are they witch children, witch teens left in the magical house?
Is he hexing things all over? Is he like a little Scarlet Witch?
Exactly. Or, you know, is it
house.
Joe Pesci and Dan Schneider? Not Dan Schneider. Dan Stein?
Yeah.
It's
like,
Jewish. It's
Daniel
Jewish.
yeah, I think it's Dan Stein.
I thought it was
The
Daniel Stern.
voice.
What?
Yeah,
Stern?
I thought it was Daniel Stern.
It's probably
the voice
Stern.
from the Wonder Years.
It's not that Jewish. Anyway, are they the witches? Are they the evil? And then the teens have to figure it out. I see a lot of potential. The Jim Carrey one, you do. I mean, as Nico said, he has magical Grinch power, so you're kind of already a lot of the way there. The idea of like,
And you can make that hot.
Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa trying to do like sexy Whoville teens, sexy Who teens.
Get out of
to
my way.
me.
I want to
for
do it.
Sure.
I want to do it. All the Who's are like jocks, and there's like, but there's also like super fancy, flashy, like white and like blue Grinch people. Oh, I'm so ready to do this.
Look at some of the people that he's worked with already. KJ Apa and Chris Colfer already look like who?
I know KJ Apa is 100% a Who.
I would cast Chris
Holy hell.
Colfer as the mayor of Whoville. Hi,
Yeah.
I'm your little gay Christmas mayor. Hi, I write books.
He's going to come up later on this list too, because there's another sequel I would have cast him in.
All right. I also do want to say you're really correct. The poltergeistiness of the Home Alone house.
Yeah, like there is a lot of potential there. It's obvious the Grinch is the better one. Like we're not dumb here, people.
Oh,
but
yeah.
like Home Alone is not a bad one. And this is one of those ones where like Macaulay Culkin plays the dad.
Yeah.
And like you know, Catherine O'Hara is somehow in the mix as well. She's like the witch grandma. It would be great, but obviously we're picking the Grinch. I get it.
Strogalona. And she's
Yes.
okay. This is so unfair because it's the Christmas thing I think is the most overrated thing in Christmas history versus the thing I think is it's not bad. It's just everyone says to me I should think that A Christmas Story is the funniest thing of all time, and I don't. And I think A Christmas Carol is that classic.
I think A Christmas Story was just for people our age and older. As kids, their first real Christmas thing. And everybody latches onto, it's the way that everybody talks about how good the X-Men cartoon is. It's not Very good. It was just your first cartoon. It was the cartoon you loved when you were a kid. That's why I'm also not a huge Christmas Story fan, but I'm a huge Mixed Nuts fan because that was probably my earliest Christmas movie where I was like, this is so fucking funny. And I'm just a kid and I don't know. I don't even get half these jokes right now. I'll get them when I'm older. But I think for a lot of kids it was Christmas Story and they just don't realize that like it's great, it's fine, but like nobody
It's also
needs
one of those movies that they played on a 24-hour loop at holidays. So
exactly. Nobody needs to like Christmas Story. There's nothing revelatory about this film. It was just your comfort Christmas film as a kid, and that's okay too.
And it's only from 83, which is like really of note. It's from 83.
Yeah.
The first sequel was 93. The next sequel was 2012. And then there's the sequel that came out like 2 or 3 years ago with Hot Adult Ralphie.
Yeah.
So
well, anyway.
Not there. That's not Hot Adult Ralphie.
No.
I've got some terrible news for you.
Okay.
Which would you rather see rebooted as a Tarantino style flick?
A Christmas Carol! Get out of my way!
Cavo.
I mean, death, because not a fan of Tarantino in general. But, I really see the potential for this already baked in with a lot of the material that exists in the movie. So I think it would probably be an easy move. But I think that this would probably be the bolder move, especially this version that Nico and I are so fond of, specifically a musical Tarantino Christmas Carol that stays true to both Tarantino and A Christmas Carol would be a fascinating artistic endeavor to try and undertake. And I feel like this would just be easy. This, you can just slap some violence on this and it's already Tarantino.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the gags are just Tarantino gags scaled for...
The kid's tongue would just rip off on the pole. That's
exactly.
all.
That is what it is. Yeah, I mean, again, this is another one where, like, it's the exact same situation, actually, but I can elucidate it better now. You can immediately see how Home Alone would be like, oh, we could actually pitch that tomorrow, and WB would probably pick it up. Similarly, like, you could immediately pitch A Christmas Story as a Tarantino film, and it's just like, I mean, Tarantino could film that in 20 minutes. I mean, there'd be a lot more after, like, B footage of toes, but, most of it he could get in about 20 minutes. A Christmas Carol, and especially the version you guys picked, Tarantino should be forced to work with Jane Krakowski and a bunch of actors who are at least as out there as he is and take up as much space in a room, and in some cases, Kelsey Grammer, are as difficult as he is, because he deserves... He also should not be such a fucking pussy and make a musical. Like, that's...
Yes.
If you're going to make 8 different blaxploitation and kung fu movies, make a fucking musical. It's not that hard.
Dare you.
I also want to point out that this musical is actually already, like, set up for him. Right? There's a song called Link by Link that's a bunch of ghosts just slamming chains at each other. Fucking scary as shit. But the best number for me in many ways is at Mr. Fezziwig's annual Christmas ball. And the part that follows is rat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat. Are you telling me that we can't turn that into Fezziwig's annual Christmas massacre? Rat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat for Tarantino? I think that there's a lot of room for Tarantino to do a wild A Christmas Carol musical, and so I'm gonna throw my vote in on that one. Not just because A Christmas Carol is perfect, but because Tarantino would make the Ghost of Christmas Present so corpulent he would eat everything in the room.
Also, it's public domain. It's free. Just do this. Just do it now.
Yeah, not even our version. Just do a version. Exactly.
Yeah. Do it now. It's free.
Keeping the rat-tat-tats, and
keep the rat-tat-tats, obviously. So is this the move, Kevo? Are we good?
I believe so.
Okay. Oh, 2 movies I fucking hate.
Yeah, can I tell you? I only found out that I've never seen the one on the left when I found out that I didn't know the song from it.
I was really wondering about that.
I can't believe you don't know that song. That blows
I
my mind.
also can't believe you didn't know. Did I tell you the thing about Bjork, about the new Bjork song?
Is it a Christmas song?
No, but it has the exact same. The chorus has the exact same melody as the Polar Express theme. The da 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 is the exact same thing in the chorus of Oral by Bjork. But here's the fucking crazy thing. The strings that are the exact same as the ones in Polar Express were recorded in the early 90s or in the late 90s because this was a Vespertine track before Polar Express ever existed, and they were not ever played because this track was shelved until very recently. I just think it's wild. But before we keep talking, which would you rather see rebooted as a Mad Men style period piece?
Ooh.
Oh, this is tough because, like, let me ask a couple of questions. So first of all, Kevo had to make me watch Love Actually.
Nobody makes you do anything, but whatever.
A
little
yeah,
sometimes.
kind of.
I'm the only one who can.
I did not like this movie.
No.
I really was I was very sour about it. This movie was just utter emotional and mental manipulation that served no purpose. I've never seen Polar Express, but I've read the book. Riveting page turner, had me on the edge of my seat like Da Vinci Code. And I love the amount of Kevo, I love that you got this image. I almost included it. One of the things I love is that Polar Express.
Oh, this is one of the ones you gave me. Yeah.
Oh, good for me. Polar Express, it has a bunch of experiential exhibits, and I think that's really cool. So here's my question for you guys.
Wait,
Okay.
hold on. One more thing before you go. I just want to show you something that might make you like Love Actually a little bit more. And it's apropos of everything we're doing right now.
I'm ready.
I'm in. Oh. Oh.
I was like, okay, well, if you really want me to like it more, you should show it to me with Natalie Portman instead of Keira Knightley. But
so that we don't have to translate anything over for when we eventually lazily put this on the podcast. It is a video of Keira Knightley from Love Actually and the stalker scene, as even the people involved call it. But it's Beaker. Is that what you're doing when you say meep when you show up in the studio?
Yes, I'm not doing Star Beast meep, although Star Beast meep now lives in my heart, and I'm trying to figure out how to fold that into my faith. But it is primarily Beaker meep.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Anyway, I just thought, in all fairness, to try and get this sussed out, I wanted you to see that beautiful interpretation. And hey, maybe that's part of the Mad Men period piece of Love Actually.
But then that's my question. Yeah. Is this like a magical train ride Polar Express period piece? Like every week we cut back to, there won't be enough coal to keep us rolling.
I think so,
the
yes.
elves are making the toys as fast as they can.
Yeah.
Have we thought about stations?
Yeah.
The dining cart.
Yeah.
Which is next time on Polar Express Men.
No, yours is better than actual next time on Mad Men. I don't have time. It actually takes thought to make it as chaotic and random as they really were. I was someone who loved Love Actually for a while, and then I woke up. There are segments of Love Actually that are still very enjoyable, but it is made up of so many that aren't, that it's genuinely unwatchable, and some storylines genuinely terrifying.
First off, the funniest thing though is Love Actually is now so far away that it would be a period piece to redo it, and I want you to think about recasting everyone with a person now, with a new person that is the Hugh Grant, the Keira Knightley of today. To do this early 2000s period piece.
I want to replace Bill Nighy with the Ninth Doctor, Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah, great choice.
Bill Nighy with Hugh Grant.
No, I'm gonna
Yeah,
swap.
that is also a possibility. I will allow lateral moves.
Can I swap Emma Thompson with Liam Neeson because they have the exact same hair on this cover?
Yes, in your reboot, it can be a gay man. But honestly, I think because Love Actually is so much just Mad Men and a period piece already, I think that's why I'd be more fascinated to see the Polar Express rebooted as this Mad Men style period piece. And especially if it does follow the Mad Men trend of continuing throughout time, so you get like Mad Men style Polar Express scenes from a few different periods. I'd love all of this.
I agree. I think there's something really magical to the idea of like the big sci-fi, big magic, big mystic kind of like, but subtle. Yeah, there's something really complicated about even trying to describe Polar Express done Mad Men. But I'm hungry for it, much like the wolf. The thing that I think I can't get behind Love Actually as a Mad Men style period piece is because I don't know that I ever saw the connective thread in Love Actually. It's
love.
Actually, I understand, but
Is it? Is it always?
It's toxic heterosexual love.
It's
No, I
Captain
mean, like,
Christmas. That's
very clearly it should be Polar Express. Like, Polar Express is funnier all around if it is the Mad Men thing. Like, there's so much stuff where it's like, you're welcome, Nico. I sent Nico a Christmas gift. Mad Men, making Polar Express like Mad Men is funnier all around because there's just so much stuff that you should never ruin a child's experience with, like how the train functions. And how, like, what makes the magic of Christmas what it is. Love Actually is just kind of like, if you think about the movie for a second, everything is actually just as dark as Mad Men. We're just kind of lying to ourselves in order to enjoy the, quote, romance. I think The Notebook would be another one where I'm like, this is already deeply upsetting and not a good film.
It's one dining cart or another straight to hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, I think we have a decision here.
Yeah, I think Polar Express would make the better Mad Men style holiday reboot series.
Well, I gotta get myself back in.
Plugged.
You know, now I think one of the things that I'm most excited about with this holiday showdown is that, you know, it's not just talking about what makes these movies what they are, but it's what makes them kind of last and what kind of makes them work. This pairing, these two actually, like, I have held the test of time. I think, you know, we've poked fun at how a couple of them, you know, have been uneven, but like this is two that like have an incredibly high millennial midnight watched, you know, power.
I mean, it's Nancy Myers. What are you gonna? What can I say? And Jon Favreau.
My handsome director, man.
So what's our
Which
question?
would you rather see rebooted with the Zelda universe to form a cinematic universe?
Oh my god.
I left this one in.
Of course you did.
Okay.
But I mean, I didn't move it to like a better slot.
Sure you did.
Because no, this is terrible because you don't want it to be Elf. You don't want Elf and Zelda forming, you know, the adventures of Buddy and Link. That's not what you want. But at the same time, the holiday, while lovely, is distinctly a little not the giant scary moon is going to come smash the planet down.
Yeah,
so,
Ganon can't fuck with Kate Winslet.
No, but can you imagine Jack Black facing off against Ganon? I challenge you to grab your electric guitar and rock!
Yeah, that's my thing. Do you have a pitch for if it's the holiday? Elf feels pretty obvious. Santa, blah, blah, blah. You could cross that over with Zelda. Why not? But do we have a pitch for the holiday? Would it be classic, like 1980s, early 90s style? Oh man, we're sucked into this game. Or what are we doing?
I feel like it would be Princess Bride style. They are playing the game, and then we flash into the game I don't think they could be like, oh shit, we've arrived in Hyrule. I think it would have to be, never ending story. They are reading this as it happens. I would maybe even accept they are both the characters in The Holiday and the characters in Zelda. So like Cameron Diaz would be Zelda, Jude Law would be Link, Jack Black would be Ganon, Kate Winslet would be the Great Fairy. But then they also have to be there. I don't think they can interact with another version of the characters.
I'm saying it might have to be Elf.
I do think it's Elf. There are so many silly elves already in Legend of Zelda. Like, I mean, the Kokiri are just so weird, and so they are basically the elves from Elf. Like
Zeldoe de Chanel.
No, I hate it. You ruined it. Now we have to end the game. We're done. This is done. We're never doing this again.
He had an allergic reaction to the thing I just said.
Oh, yes, I did. I sneezed, but I muted, so good for
Zoe
me.
Deschanel is the worst. You did not mute it.
Not mute, Kevin.
I didn't? I thought
Nope.
I had my... Oh, my thing's broken. My thing is broken. So that's a good thing to know. God, what else haven't I been muted?
All right.
Oh God.
There's never been another incident where I'm like, why the fuck isn't he muted? So I think we're okay. But I think it's Elf. I think Nico thinks it's Elf.
And I will just give a protest vote for whatchamacallit?
The Holiday. Okay.
Because I can, because
Yeah.
it's gonna lose anyway. But
Yeah.
no, I'm down with that. I get it. Like I said, I see it. So
All right, we're doing other side of left side, right?
Yes. Give me 1 second. It just popped out of presentation mode. Put it back in presentation mode. There we go. Yes, I said Elf.
Woo!
Oh no, yeah. Now we got to finish the left side.
Yeah.
So, which would you rather see rebooted as a Star Wars style space opera?
A Christmas Carol. Hear me out. I think he should have to go planet by planet fighting ghosts. No, I'm already not into it. Grinch? No. Can I combine them? Can it be
Nope.
the Grinch versus
Nope,
ghosts?
because we
in
have to pick one.
space?
Nope.
No.
I'm saying A Christmas Carol. I think
Yeah, I think
Dickens has a lot more potential.
Really?
Yeah, for one thing, you could just go the future, like the adapt everything into the future. So like Scrooge runs the megacorp that spreads throughout planets. Tiny Tim is like a cyborg with like, his leg is like a broken part that he needs replaced.
I am Robo Scrooge and I run Toxicorp.
Yeah, exactly. The ghosts are not ghosts, but ghosts are what they call uploaded AI brains, and they all show up, or like, they have the power to manipulate the past, present, and future.
But it's still just Jane Krakowski.
Yes, absolutely. It's still Jane Krakowski. That goes without saying.
I
even
love
though
Jedis.
Ghosts.
Jedi
yeah.
Ghosts.
Jedi Ghosts also totally an option, even though AI is completely evil and we should not be using it to replace actors. In this case, for this movie, for this space opera, we will be using an AI actor to replace Kelsey Grammer just because it's funny. Just because, I don't want to get him off the Frasier schedule.
Actually, could we let's just replace him with Andy Grammer?
Okay, sure. Okay. Yeah.
Why not? He can sing.
Sure. So my vote is for Christmas Carol. I that's where my heart is at.
I'm gonna give a stronger vote this time then for Grinch, because I think there is a lot of potential for Seuss space opera that I am surprised that we haven't seen anything like that yet, especially because in the 1960s to the 1980s, there were a lot of weird space things. Like Josie and the Pussycats went to space. Everything went to space. Dr. Seuss didn't go to space. That's wild. So I think Planet Whoville and all that stuff would be very interesting. Nice tossed salad and scrambled eggs reference. But I am bested. I am beaten. I fully concede.
No, Nico still hasn't voted yet.
Oh no, Christmas Carol.
No, yeah, he voted.
Okay. Well, I
It's
appreciate
okay.
your protest vote.
I'll survive.
All right, here's two that I don't have a huge vested interest in, so I'm really excited to hear how the question shapes my answer.
Polar elf.
Which would you rather see rebooted with the McDonald's characters to form a cinematic universe?
Ooh.
What is wrong with me? Okay, Polar Express.
Agreed,
They
100%.
would live on the train.
Yep.
They would work the dining cart.
Yep.
I would be able to get around having like elf indentured servitude labor.
It's also funny because they are two very different types of children's content where it's kind of, they're both the same for Elf. Like in Elf, they would just always be doing hijinks. It would just be like, oh, the McDonald's characters are always talking to this Christmas elf that's like, why are they all being silly in Manhattan? But the Polar Express is like,
traveling.
The Polar Express is not silly most of the time. It's trying to provide you a beautiful Christmas magic, and then all of a sudden some dude who is a burglar shows up and steals your food. And there's just some horrible purple furry monster.
I'm not a gumdrop. Stop calling me a giant gumdrop.
It just entirely disrupts what the Polar Express is about. And I think that's very funny. And I think that's why it should win.
There is a page that I follow on Facebook called Dinosaur Dracula that I just happened to find. And they share a lot of nostalgic videos. And one of the things that he shared just recently is an entire compilation of the whole series of McDonald's Christmas commercials from the 1980s and 90s of our childhood. Always very inappropriately dramatic for a commercial featuring Ronald McDonald. There's the one where the kid's running away from home and Ronald convinces him to go home. Like, what the hell was that about? And I think that that is something that fits a lot more the theming of Polar Express than Elf. I feel like if we were to do the McDonald's characters inserted into Elf, that it would become something of a competition between Ronald and Buddy. And I don't really need the Batman versus Superman energy that I think that would unleash.
What did you just say you call her? Mom? I call my mom Mom too. That is the...
That would be...
Yeah, that would be the...
That's what they would do. Exactly. I love that.
Commissioner Zoolander in the background. Because of the logic I have injected into this situation. It's the only thing that makes sense.
Sure. Portmanteaus, man.
Last but not least, which would you rather see rebooted as a superhero universe?
To be clear, is the train a person?
It certainly can be.
You know what? I think A Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Because I'm really into the ghosts, man. I'm here for the ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand it's because none of us are very familiar with Polar Express necessarily. But I don't think a lot of characters really jump out.
No.
From that lack of knowledge.
They're all Tom Hanks.
Yeah, there's Tom Hanks, conductor, and then other characters that, I understand are also played by Tom Hanks. There's a train, and there's some kids, and one of those kids grew up to be Josh Hutcherson. That's about it. Christmas Carol has very significant and specific and explicit characters that you can really turn into something. So, yeah.
And I don't know if it's just the timing and Battlestar and Hunger Games kind of overlapping in my mind, but I really feel like there is something about the sort of energy that a lot of that sort of Josh Hutcherson kind of, I can't think of her name, Cara Thrace, Bo-Katan,
Oh,
Katie Sackhoff, thank you. Where you kind of like have trouble breaking them out of those sorts of roles, or at least like nerd culture sometimes. So like knowing that he has this like Christmas movie past that he is sort of like known for, 'cause I've always put them in sort of that like, oh yeah, they're from that era. So I don't know, it's really interesting to know he has this like magical Christmas movie just in the background.
Yes.
I get that.
All right, so we have a new bracket. And if you've never seen White Christmas, then you did not grow up my father's son. But I do believe you've got a prompt.
Which would you rather see rebooted as an Ocean's 11 style heist flick?
Ooh.
I would love to write a musical Christmas heist that takes place at a fancy resort. So if I could do like the White Christmas Inn heist musical, I'd love to do that. You know, the problem with Santa Claus being a heist movie is it kind of makes Santa seem like a burglar. And
Doesn't he already seem like that enough?
Yeah, like I don't want to go from McDonald's talking about the Hamburglar to talking about Santa as the harm burglar, but like this idea that he
Nice.
would be able, like he could just like slip into your house and Danny Oceans you. I don't think so. Go back to Golden Girls in the 80s. I'm gonna have to go with White Christmas. I think the idea of a magical Christmas musical heist set at a beautiful resort that is actually something I want to write anyway, let alone having access to Bing Crosby's library to make it a whole lot easier to sell it to investors for the Great White Way.
I really want to vote for the Santa Claus because a good friend of mine plays the mom in the original Santa Claus, not in the later ones where it's what's her name from Lost Island. Not her. I do love her though, the Ice Queen. Unfortunately, I think no matter what, this especially has to go to White Christmas for choreography alone. Choreography is like the heist. The heist happens during choreography, which doesn't change at all. There's somehow the added element of the heist, but
fuck the theft.
And it's that it's the Adam Shankman is the guy in this heist remake.
Yes, that is the only place I ever imagine Adam Shankman. I agree.
Yeah, definitely. Don't make it weird. So yeah, I guess my vote is also for White Christmas.
Yeah. I think we're all in agreement.
Okay.
Oh man. Okay, I love one of these and I don't love the other ones. This is
Me
fun.
too.
All right. So what's our prompt?
Which would you rather see rebooted as a found footage style film?
Oh my god. Oh no.
That's tough. That's so tough.
Yep.
Okay. Oh my god. Miracle on 34th Street as a found footage style. So either like it's almost like Blair Witch Miracle on 34th Street,
Right.
or Blair Witch Nightmare Before Christmas.
So, and here's the really big thing you got to keep in mind with this question. Do you want to see Nightmare Before Christmas rebooted? Isn't Nightmare Before Christmas already perfect? While I could see the idea of a found footage Nightmare Before Christmas being interesting, but it's in that kind of AI prompt way where I'm like, I don't actually want people to spend money making this. I just want it to like appear in front of me with no effort. Whereas Miracle on 34th Street's garbage. I don't understand what this is about. And the only thing that could make it better is to make it make Miracle on 34th Street. The miracle is I survived the Cloverfield attack.
Okay. Also,
Um,
now I want to know why no one's ever done Miracle on 35th Street, Miracle on 36th Street, Miracle down
Miracle
in
on Canal Street,
Harlem.
and it's that I found a really, really good looking fake Louis Vuitton bag.
Can you believe it? It says Louis Vuitton, but I don't think anyone will notice.
It's a Joey Fatone bag.
Oh, you got a Joey Vuitton. Now you're
I
going to
would
be really
love a
in
Joey
sync with
Vuitton
fashion.
bag.
I think this one goes to Miracle on 34th Street. I rest, the defense rests.
And I want it to be, is there proof or not? Like, it really becomes Virginia.
Yes, meet Virginia by train.
I think I might come up with a specific subheader for when we play bracketeerings that are like this chaotic level, because that really is the spirit of chaotic bracketeering, where, none of us care for this.
Yeah.
Obviously. But the spirit of this version of bracketeering that we're playing is the question is something that can tip things in favor of Miracle on 34th Street. And absolutely, a artistic Chronicle Cloverfield style cell phone footage. Oh my god, there he goes! Like Santa's some kind of alien terror. Would be absolutely fascinating, hysterical, and maybe actually good.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I also need Aaron Sorkin's Miracle on 34th Street. Are you or are you not Kris Kringle? Like,
yes.
I
Portmanteau stuff. Like, I was going to say, I want Baz Luhrmann to also direct the Tarantino Christmas Carol. He does the musical numbers. Tarantino does the violence and horror. Aaron Sorkin will do the dramatic line reads for Miracle on 34th Street with found footage. And I don't know. Whoever can do the direction on... You guys would know better than I would, probably.
I also think it's a real shame that Flogging Molly never did the music to Cloverfield. Okay, I'm giving my vote to Miracle on 34th Street.
We're all in agreement on that one.
Hey.
So this is perfect because these two things are so tangentially Christmas movies you can fuck yourself. I do think Rent is like the most perfect piece of musical cinema. Like the movie's terrible, but the musical is perfect for me. It really is about a time I grew up. So I am really excited to hear what horrifying question I'm going to have to pit these two films against, where I'm going to have to pick Die Hard.
Which would you rather see rebooted as an 80s ski lodge film?
Hey,
good. I get to pick Rent.
Hey Mimi, I gotta talk to you. Sitting by the fireplace with this cocoa, it's a cocaine, heroin, and AIDS kind of talk. So, bring your big girl ski pants.
It's very Bret Easton Ellis's Rent in Colorado or Utah, or fucking Telluride. No, the other one.
Or one of the like Bear Mountain, Pennsylvania.
No, no.
They're homeless. Okay, they're homeless in the
But
night.
that's the whole, for me, the whole joke is that they're not homeless. They are ski instructors who, their lodging and everything is paid for. So if they can't get their shit together and just do their jobs, they will be kicked out.
Wait, so is it like, okay, hold on. This is actually just a separate project. Hold on.
Yeah.
So, it's called like Ski Pass, and they have to pay for their lodgings out of their paycheck, but they have to get enough hours on the mountain.
Well, that's what it is. They have to, their lodging is included with their work.
Heroin and okay.
Yeah. The lodging is included with the work, but they have to actually be working, and they're not working because they're all doing their stupid other projects, like either being in the band or just being on drugs.
Let's get back on the slopes.
Yeah,
Let's
kids
get
are
back on the road.
Kids are having terrible accidents.
I think it's terrible sex.
Yep, that too. Anyway, and then Die Hard, this is kind of like, I think this will probably be the next Die Hard film, because what else do they have to do with this franchise but like put it in, in Aspen. So I don't.
Going back in time. It would be a prequel to Die Hard. If it's
Yeah. It's like
Oh my gosh.
John isn't really even a cop, and he's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
Soft Birth. It's a prequel.
Oh, Die Hard, Soft Birth. I hate that, but yes.
I hate it, but I love you.
Oh my God! Both of you get off. I'm on the top here.
Okay,
I'm
my
on top.
vote.
I'm in charge.
I'm a tough
My
man.
vote is absolutely for Rent.
Yeah.
I think it's very funny to imagine, especially this cast of characters. The slalom Maureen, the mogul Maureen. Adding numbers about like how many times you've gone up the chairlift.
Hey guys, it's me, Daphne Rubin Vega. I'm definitely 18, and nobody even has to think twice about it. Who wants to get some ski instruction from me? I'm a little strung out.
Yes. And then Valentina could still play Angel as a slutty dog killing ski instructor.
Did you see
I'd
that?
like to keep the ski mask on, please.
Side note: España is getting an All Stars.
How many seasons have they had?
I have no idea, but evidently it's enough.
I think 3. I could be wrong.
It's
Maybe
not
they've had more.
enough. I don't care that much. Do it. Okay.
Gotta be Rent.
All right. I have
have-
never seen Disney's The Nutcracker, The Four Realms.
Okay, but this is all things Nutcracker. This is
Yeah.
all
Okay.
Nutcracker related products, and
Well, boy, do I have great news for you.
Okay.
Which would you rather see rebooted with a Squid Game element incorporated?
I wrote these questions. Obviously, it's going to the Nutcracker because that's a guy who has been struggling in the arts industry for 20 years. I want to see hungry dancers fight for solo.
I mean, that's just Black Swan. It's
Oh,
Black
there's-
Swan at Christmas.
For the record, there's a really great video of Natalie Portman watching a bunch of her own movies, and it's super great. And I love her so much that I watch videos of her on YouTube in my spare time. Yeah, Nutcracker.
I have no knowledge of or investment in these. I mean, I've seen the Nutcracker once or twice.
Is that
probably.
Macaulay Culkin?
Yes, this is the 1993 Nutcracker movie that
Wow.
starred Macaulay Culkin that I always remember and have never seen and really want to watch. Because, yeah, that's so fucking weird, man. He's on this list twice. I also want to see this, but like mostly because it looks pretty and it's got a lot of celebrities, and that shouldn't entirely be a reason you want to see it. But like I have a lot bigger reasons to want to see this. Meh.
What are the Four Realms?
Right? One's got to be like Sugar Plum.
Well, there's got to be Earth. There's the Earth Kingdom, and
Right.
there's the Water Tribe. But then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
This isn't helpful.
I don't know anything about this. I always think Vince Vaughn looks like the guy you don't want to stand next to at the urinal. So I have no stake in this. Like TK, I would dab while talking about Fred Claus if I could.
Shut the fuck up. You're the worst sort of person. Yeah, I don't know anything about Fred Claus. There are more movie options. I don't know why Fred Claus is one that you chose.
It is actually
Is it
in
made
the top
bang?
20 most successful Christmas movies of all time,
Oh Lord.
and not even like adjusted for inflation numbers.
God,
like-
normies are so weird.
Like
He-
straight people with children think that Vince Vaughn is good at teaching lessons to your children.
He's gonna
You
try
said
and
at the
date
top
rape
of
your
this.
children.
These are the movies that are the most successful that you're willing to talk about. So imagine the movies that we are not talking about that are more successful that are on this list that we
True.
didn't talk about.
True.
Yeah, what was it? Daddy's Home 2.
Oh, Christ.
like some of the stuff that counts as Christmas movies because it technically took place at Christmas. It's one of those things where that designation doesn't act. Yeah, I mean, Die Hard, truly, that designation really doesn't. Oh God, a young Bruce Willis
You
can
know.
really get it. I mean, old
Yeah.
Bruce Willis can get it for me. We all know what I'm talking about. Gentlemen hit their prime at 50. So, but Bruce Willis certainly looked very handsome in Die Hard. But Die Hard being a Christmas movie is a testament to the sort of situation that I think many of these films that I picked on purpose, with the exception of, like I said, Rent and Die Hard, kind of work to avoid. These movies tried to make Christmas a central plot element. Now, the reason I left National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation off the list is because I felt that like that was one of those Christmas movies where that is any horrifying thing I could do to it. That movie is any nightmare reboot I could throw its way. And so that was the one that I'd really, really considered. And ultimately, those who saw my script for this saw that I had the Nutcracker just listed as the Nutcracker and the last position with no information and 2 unrelated posters, because I'd actually had National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation there the whole time and just decided that there really was no wacky thing I could do to Christmas Vacation that it didn't already do.
Well, I think ultimately our vote is for the Nutcracker to get some horrifying Squid Game element to it.
Yeah. It's got that giant lady in it anyway, doesn't it? So.
A giant woman.
A giant woman.
All right. So
All right.
now.
Wow, this is fascinating because an interesting point is that less than 5% of movies available on all combined streaming services are older than the year 1970. So that we have 2 films in contention that both here are, reputable classics. Both White Christmas and Miracle on 34th Street are part of the American electorate of what is acceptable to holiday standards when, compared to the zeitgeist that sort of dictates the Coca-Cola Santa universe we live in. So I'm really excited to see the challenge here.
So this one is, which would you rather see rebooted as a DreamWorks style animal starring film?
White Christmas. Look, my dad and I do not agree about a lot of things in this world. I think my dad's a great guy and I'm so proud to be his son. Don't get me wrong. But he and I watch the same things and have the same ultimate score, but for such incredibly different reasons. We watch 2 fucking different things completely. That said, White Christmas, it's kind of stupid white people nonsense, but it is the best kind of stupid white people nonsense. And it's a kind of magic energy. It's a pretty timeless vibe. It wouldn't be at a loss for having animals injected into it. Whereas I feel like it would take, I don't know. I'm so embarrassed. I can't think of his name. Who did Fantastic Mr. Fox?
Yeah.
Wes Anderson.
Thank you. It would take a Wes Anderson to do Miracle on 34th Street with the sort of like Bill Willingham doing Animal Farm with actual animals to get it right. Whereas I think White Christmas would just bang fuck right off the page, exactly as it is, with a very uncomfortably muscular, close to human animal DreamWorks style look, as they are so wont to do these days. Guys, they're animals. Let them look like animals.
No, keep the tigers exactly the way they look. I can't wait for Zootopia 2.
It's doing terrible things to my self-esteem.
I think about those tigers every day. I agree. I think it's, again, like all I can.
Right. We should try everything.
Everything, yes. I think it goes back again to choreography. I just, seeing all of the animals do that entire routine is very funny to me. That is the highlight of that. If it's not clear, that's the highlight of that movie to me. I just think it's great. So yeah, I mean, I agree. It's White Christmas.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
I really want to see Bear Crosby just kind of lumbering, being a very handsome, big, tall bear man. All right, what fresh hell are we doing to my precious Rent?
It is interesting these two ended up against each other as stage musicals. Continue.
Which would you rather see rebooted as a 90s style action film?
Oh.
So what's funny is for Rent, that unmakes Rent because Rent
Yes.
is partially based on the 1980s riots where like people were throwing bricks and firing guns. So like what's interesting is Rent you would have to like unmake in some ways to make it that. You know, I think what I would really love to see is a ballet that simulates a an action movie. So I want to see the Nutcracker as a 90s movie ballet. My dream is to do French Connection the opera. So you can't go by me. But I think 90s movie action Nutcracker ballet is where it's at.
I'm going with Rent. Rent is weird because, yes, Rent is based off things that happened in the 80s and status quos of the 80s, but then is really produced, gets popular, and has its heyday in the 90s as a stage play, but then has its heyday as a film about the 90s that is inspired by the 80s in the 2000s with actors that are in their 90s by the time they start playing these characters on TV. And so there's just a lot happening, and I'm okay with a reset because the thing is, like, to quote Tracy Jordan, the Disneyfication of New York did not really reach its zenith until the very late 90s, and really after 9/11 is when everything really changed. And so, like, I could absolutely see a 90s RuPaul on the Lower East Side at the Pyramid Club, and somehow also there's gun violence. And I like it for Rent.
You know, Rent holds such a unique distinction in my life and such a very important place in my world. It is always really fascinating to hear other people's opinions on Rent because, you know, it's not that mine is unique to being from this area and being queer. A whole lot of other people have that distinction as well. So it's really fascinating to hear the, I guess, accessibility of something that I think has maybe aged kind of poorly.
Terribly.
I would love it. I would love it if you could look back and see the shining beacon of progress that Rent represented for so many years. But this must be how I felt about my parents being like, no, hair. And I was like,
Well, and
you're
I mean,
wrong. You're absolutely wrong.
For the second half of the millennial generation, it was Spring Awakening, and now we all make fun of them. We were making fun of them at the time, but we couldn't get them to shut up.
I am I am famous for taking scraps of Duncan Sheik's musical instruments off the stage after concerts. Like, I wanted Spring Awakening to be so good, and it's not my junk.
It's not. The music is, I mean, Duncan Sheik did a great job, I will say. But like it's just not the way kids talked about Spring Awakening back in the day.
You would have thought it was Dear Evan Hansen or something.
You would have thought that it was making the same kinds of huge statements that Rent did. And it just was, I mean, it wasn't, it's not bad. It just, like, in the grand scheme of theater that really changed the world, even like theater that changed the world for reasons like the way that Wicked did, it's just none of those. It was just a play that you like because you were also a horny teenager, and that's okay. But, it's embarrassing sometimes, and I mean, in some ways the same was true with Rent. So many of us were into Rent in the late 90s and early 2000s in this way where, like, our parents were like, yeah, we had revolutionary theater too.
No, you didn't. You had O Calcutta. Looking at an old man's penis isn't progress.
But, like, the war themes of hair were important, and you can't take that away. Like, the themes of the AIDS crisis in Rent and the fact that this brought it to the forefront in so many ways was important, but there are also a lot of themes that, like TK is saying, are you are just a horny teenager. And I think
Yeah.
some, especially like Spring Awakening, that one is a lot more evident because there
Yes.
wasn't really anything current or relevant it was saying. It, much like many things like Rent, like I can't remember now one of the other ones we were talking about, but like so many of these things are this one, like it is a remake of a story. Spring Awakening and Rent, they all are, but it's also not reinventing it in a way. It's still set when it was, and it's not trying to teach anything new. Yes, wasn't things awful 100 years ago? Sure. I remember being a teenager and not understanding how close time was between a lot of things. I didn't understand how close 1989 was to 2005 when I was a child, to the
Mhm.
point where like I thought Red was set in the 90s. And so when the movie said it was 1989, I found that annoying because I was fucking annoying and I was a child. Um, and so I think those things were saying more relevant things to the current time, and other stuff doesn't, and so it doesn't hold up as easily.
And I just want to piggyback on that. That one of the things that makes Rent kind of a tough sell is I'm a big fan of you can't just take a song and say it's a Christmas song because you want to. And I actually really hear how for many people, especially for Black Americans who are looking for a deeply underserved Christmas catalog to be recognized nationally, something like the Diana Ross cover of My Favorite Things becomes a Christmas tradition in a way that for me, it's synonymous with The Sound of Music, which, and I cannot tell you why, but The Sound of Music is exclusively a spring product. You should pretty much only listen to The Sound of Music on a warm day in February through June. And at that point, you should retire it for the year. You should switch to Victor Victoria for the summers. I have a whole thing, but because you should spend your whole year with Julie Andrews. But whole point of story.
Different episode.
I think Rent's usage as Season of Love as a Christmas song ultimately is a factor that both positively and negatively affects Rent's memory. If you go to Rent as that thing that has that beautiful Christmas song that you heard that one time at your local community choir, they do that beautiful song about remembering all the little things in life and love and never forgetting to measure your life in love. And that one lady went, ooh, hoo, woo, woo, woo. And it was great. And then you were like, why are all of these homeless people throwing things at police officers and threatening to piss on them? What's happening? It really can be a very difficult juxtaposition. And I really think that with the exception of maybe A Christmas Story, nothing else on this list that is considered Christmas, Die Hard is ironic Christmas, really has that pratfall the way Rent does.
So the question was, which should get a 90s style action remake? I said Rent. Nico said Nutcracker. Kevo, be the tie cracker and break this shit up.
In part I was vamping because this is a tough one and I don't want to be the tiebreaker. And I especially...
A little vamping. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Sorry.
I don't know the reference, but I like when you sing.
It's Wendy Williams singing Native New Yorker on The Masked Singer.
It is Kevy, I promise you, I have literally made you watch this multiple times.
It's my favorite thing.
It's my favorite.
You'll show me again after, and then we'll watch the video of What's Your Name not knowing the words to the Christmas song.
Yes.
I don't know the words, I don't know the words.
Where's my backup dancer?
This Christmas. I don't got my backup singers, I don't know the words. And more vamping. I mostly just would have really been allured by the final bracket being Nutcracker versus A Christmas Carol, because that would have been really cool. But because the question is which I would rather see rebooted as a 90s action style film, Nutcracker would be cool. But I think there is a really funny over-under on the ski lodge question for Rent, because it is something that straddles the 80s and 90s, that I think it has the versatility to be both. And I am amused by that juxtaposition and would love that DVD 2-pack of those two movies.
Yes.
So that is why Rent kind of needs to get my answer within the rules of the game.
Love it. Love it.
Listen,
It's all about the game.
This is going to be the shortest episode in history, so nobody can fight me on this one for 1 minute. Did you cut my weekend at Bernie's question?
I didn't cut it, but we can put it in. That can be our final one.
Okay. Well, what's this
Nico, there are 16 other questions
There's a
that
lot.
aren't getting asked at all, so I clearly didn't cut any of them.
You put like 40 questions. Good job, by the way, genuinely.
I cut around when I saw where this was going. I moved some around to have the ones that we have towards the end, but we can make Weekend at Bernie's the final matchup.
Oh, we don't have to. I
yes.
was kind of being silly because I realized there was a very legitimate quality to a number of the ones you made sure to see included. Well, yeah, there's absolutely a silliness. Some of the questions I wrote up were just this side of, if the Hawaiian punch guy punched you in the face, which tooth would you want to lose? So, like, you know, I do appreciate some of the editing on this.
So the question about Rent or White Christmas, which would you rather see rebooted as a survival horror game?
This is two of my three favorite settings in the history of horror: crowded New York streets and desolate winter wastelands. If you just add in warm woods at Halloween that turn inexplicably cold at 11:59, you have the greatest horror settings of all time. Oh gosh, this is really compelling.
But I mean, woods, I think you have that with White Christmas then. As much as I loved the 80s, 90s over under for Rent, I think survivor horror and you know, the theming of it being Christmas and everything. Yeah, I think White Christmas probably.
That is a very good vote for White. I almost said White Christmas. I'm so sorry. I am both looking to get a hippopotamus and channel Barbara Walters. So TK, what about you? Because I am very much I'm a property line because I'm sitting on a fence right now.
I am a little bit too. My creative director brain is all about New York in the late 80s and just really like
before Giuliani took out all the good titty bars back when you could find horse and pussy on every corner.
Well, and you know, there were alleys to hide behind filled with boxes. You know, we were just talking about how
none of this you can hide in a New York alley. Scream 6 shit.
Yeah, there's just that's not happening. But you know, back in the Rent days, I think we really could have done it. Angel is frankly terrifying. Angel is probably the pyramid head of this survival horror game.
He is the puppet.
Mark is the person that you as the player murder and don't feel bad about it. And then there's a lot of in-betweens. But so, you know, I'm pitching ideas. How are we bringing magic into this? Give me a second, I'll get there. At the same time, I am every day I wake up
as ATM digital like source code magic.
Yes. Every day I wake up and check my Google News feed to see if we have gotten any word on BioShock 4, which is said to take place in the Arctic. And as soon as I hear White Christmas, the survival horror game, I start thinking about how that could really be a BioShock kind of setting.
TK, hold on. I got a news alert on my phone just now while you were talking. It looks like Insomniac Games has agreed to produce your game that you just mentioned right now in the year 2079.
Yes.
And everyone's getting really, really angry about the lead time.
Yep, that sounds exactly right. And then not one of those people can tell you what the project management process is for turning out a video game, what the timetables are.
Oh my God, keep talking about management to me. You're making me feel all sexy and warm.
What rendering is, you fucking people. Don't worry about how long games take to make until you go to make them. Anyway, So White Christmas is BioShock 4, which I just want desperately. Rent is the game that I would probably make when Insomniac called me to pitch a whole game myself. This is a very difficult decision for me.
Same.
Kevo, your vote was White Christmas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, can I tell you why I'm going to have to go with Rent?
Yes.
Because with Rent, you have several locales. With White Christmas, you are bound to one narrative. You have the winter narrative with the escape of a cabin. With Rent, you have the subway. You have derelict buildings. You have beautiful brownstones on corners. You have stunning, stores filled with mannequins. You have a Rite Aid. And if you have ever been to a New York drugstore, you know there is literally nothing more frightening than those receipts. So, I think with Rent, you have a little bit more opportunity to exploit the identity of the location as an element of the gameplay, because you see, the fifth girl is the city. And so
The fifth killer.
the ninth vocalist is the city. So I think I got to give it to
Ninth circle is hell.
Oh boy. No, I think White Christmas is creepier. I want to give it to White Christmas.
That's just because you're afraid of white people.
Yeah, they're weird and creepy. Bing Crosby coming at you with a sack full of Valencia oranges. That is my idea of.
I'm a lot more frightened of Milton Berle coming at me with his sack.
Well, there you go. But I don't think that's happening in any of these. So, and again, choreography as a scene in a survival horror game would be horrifying. All right, we are down to our final pairing, and I could go anywhere with this question. Nico, do you want to do Weekend at Bernie's?
No. I want you to give me the question that you had loaded up, because I can always just say, hey guys, what would you rather see rebooted with Weekend at Bernie's? I have that locked and loaded like Commander Keen's first levels laser. So I'm ready to roll. Give me what you have prepared for A Christmas Carol versus White Christmas, two of the undoubted best Christmas musicals ever. This is a musical cast of titans. I only wish Tori was here.
I too wish Tori was here. She would have given us some incredible ideas for this one. Which would you rather see rebooted as a trashy soap?
A Christmas Carol. Oh my God. I would modernize it and update it, and I would make it a corporate carol. And I would have it be like all season long, but I would have the seasons run Christmas to Christmas. And it would be like old school Melrose Place style, 38 episodes a season. And that includes the double season finale where Allison finds out that her dad was not such a good dad.
What are we covering Melrose Place?
Beginning to end. Like, dude, did you ever do the CW's Melrose Place?
Of course.
Okay.
Honestly, it was one of the more rewarding continuations
By
when
the
it
end.
figured out what it wanted to be. Exactly, by the end. I think A Christmas Carol, oh God, when you think about, my favorite novel of all time is Great Expectations. Like when you think about like the great stories of all time, like Mrs. Havisham is the prototype for your Blanche Dubois. Like, you know what I mean? Like she is the identity of the American aged dame in so many ways. And so like when you're talking about Dickens, who was such a master of craft, when he created the characters in A Christmas Carol, what he created were the archetypes and the tropes that would go on to pervade every form of Christmas media for 200 years, whether it's Muppet Christmas Carol in the most direct ways, or it's even subtle, funny ways like Christmas Carol. You start to see this identity of A Christmas Carol as the identity of a socially conscious Christmas in an era where what we thought was social consciousness was just remembering to throw your change to poor people. It was the 1800s. You were just trying not to get dysentery and die. So I don't know. For me, A Christmas Carol is the ultimate story in so many regards, and it has great soap built in.
And how much of Dickens, yeah, exactly, essentially was just trashy soap. And And so it is built into the fabric of the concept in so many ways.
I hear what you guys are saying.
But
I sort of feel like, for one thing, there's really no women in A Christmas Carol.
point.
I'm sorry. There are several unnamed women in the ensemble. They are townsperson 1, who is also Fezziwig partygoer number 6, and I don't know why you are erasing her number, dumb sir.
There are several wives.
They are good property to their
They are
husbands.
misses to their husbands and prepare many a Christmas dinner. Actually, no, yeah, there's Emily, there's the sister fan, there's the
Mrs.
nephew's
Fezziwig.
girlfriend, there's Mrs. Fezziwig, there's Mrs. Cratchit, there's
One of the ghosts is almost always made female.
the first ghost is usually female, except on the OBCR for some reason, which is really annoying because when I saw it, it was Frenchie from Greece, and she was great.
Oh, Diddy Khan?
Yes, and then the Ghost of Christmas Present was Reginald Bell Johnson, so it was like one of the most amazing productions I could have ever seen in my life.
Really, really, as somebody who like this is probably one of the plays. This and Rent are the 2 plays I've seen. No, and Sweeney Todd. Those are the 3 shows I've seen the most in my life, and that's quite the cast, Kevy.
You're both voting for Christmas Carol, right?
I don't think there's any choice. I just really think that the inherent morality play of Scrooge coming to terms with every decision he's ever made laid out before him, that is a good soap. That was the plot of the first 2 seasons of Empire.
And if I may, I'm a little bit afraid that there isn't enough of White Christmas to develop into a trashy soap that wouldn't just completely erase White Christmas.
I could do it.
Killed all of those people in the woods.
It could be done, but we're past.
All right, I respect it. Listen, my vote is for White Christmas because I am safe in my outvote. So, the winner of the no winners wild card bracket for today is the classic, the ultimate Christmas story, A Christmas Carol, which I just acquired an audio file of Neil Gaiman reading A Christmas Carol.
Oh.
Ooh.
So to be that faggot for like a minute and a half, the real true pinnacle of storytelling is getting to read A Christmas Carol. And some of the greatest orators of all time have done it. Patrick Stewart is truly a legend for his interpretation, and to know that Neil Gaiman, a guy who I'm Neil Gaiman and I wrote Sandman. He's a very quiet, chill guy, but if you have the opportunity to hear him speak, it's riveting. Kevin and I attended a New York Times lecture he gave a couple of years ago, and I was lucky enough to get to ask him how he felt about Vertigo becoming a creator-only imprint, and he talked about how much he loves Karen Berger, and to hear a guy, I think at that point, 25 years later, mention the woman that picked him out of obscurity and say, by the way, she is still such an important person. She's a queen. She's a legend. She is everything. I don't know. It's really cool that we get to talk about Neil Gaiman doing A Christmas Carol when he kind of is the spirit of A Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
So that's just super special. All right, guys, holiday movie showdown. I think it's coming to a close. It is Christmas Eve, and so it's kind of okay to have kind of a shorter broadcast. But okay, first broadcast of the year, I think, is going to be comics. It's a Wednesday, so we've got some opportunity to think about it. And then next week, we're going to come back your way with oh my God, we have a whole week before the new year. I forgot.
Yeah. We have TV stuff to do. We've got a comics broadcast next week.
Hold on. Okay. Wait, have you started your MonsterVerse watch yet?
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you, we've been covering Monarch for this show, which one of the biggest, best surprises of the year. We've started our MonsterVerse watch. It's been a pretty interesting experience, but we're definitely going to be bringing you some MonsterVerse stuff in the beginning of the new year, and I am very excited about that. It has been eye-opening to see a franchise take 10 years to get to the good stuff.
I mean, it really does. It really does go to show that in some ways it is worth digging with some of this stuff, because I think with Monarch, what we found is there's more to the legendary monsterverse than larger than life creatures on a larger than life screen. I know that formula seems like it would make a ton of sense. Where else would you want to see a kaiju but in, the largest screen you can get to? I know that's what made Godzilla successful, but Godzilla also became successful in a period where we were terrified of nuclear war, and Godzilla was a reflection of that terror. What?
Well, I just want to say, to that point, the best thing about Kong Skull Island was the humanity I saw in Kong's eyes every time he was focused on my tiny. Okay, it's not a tiny screen. It's like it's the big Amazon Fire TV, because I like a corporate tie-in. So it's whichever one that is really powerful to still see it on like a personal size television.
Yeah, I mean, and I think throughout the movies, I think one of the big missing factors is good character work on the human actors. I think there's some interesting stuff happening with the monsters where you're like, I want to know what's going, like, what is part of the mystery and part of the magic is like, what are the interactions between these characters that are unknowable? But like Millie Bobby Brown isn't great. Vera Farmiga isn't great. There's a lot of people that it's not that the actors aren't doing well. It's just that they're not really anything. And they worked so hard to make the characters something in Monarch. And the writing isn't out of this world, but it is solid. And figuring out how to give us these really cool character-driven stories in the backdrop of the world of these monsters. It's something that you notice in the first episode when the main character goes to Japan and they have Godzilla procedures. And that's an immediate, like, that gives you so much story before you've ever even, thank you, Kevo, pulling it right out, before you see any glimpse of Godzilla as a force of nature to be scared of on screen. You see these hints and the way the world has changed and how these characters inhabit the world that has changed. And I just think it's insane that it took them 10 years to get here and so many movies, but I'm excited now that they are, and it just makes me think there's a bunch of stuff out there that I know has not been in its right form and gotten its right chance. And I like take another crack at it, put it on another venue.
That was your exact your exact tune when you were covering Haunted Mansion with us earlier this year.
Yeah, that remains. So good,
but just hasn't had the opportunity to be really developed by somebody with the fullest vision possible.
Yep.
All right. So I think at a 7:30 this Christmas Eve, I think we're going to sign off of this initial leg of the holiday season. It has been, I don't know, it's been an incredible year because it's only 13 months ago that we changed this show over, and we were doing something very different a year ago, and it was pretty scary for the three of us to make this leap. We were pacing around TK's living room by his beautiful fireplace, talking about, like, is this the right thing? And it's not that we didn't love everything we were doing. And I was just talking with contributor Nathan from the earlier incarnations of the show about coming on and doing some comic work with us in the new year, and just, coming by and saying, hey. So, everything is so positive, and the changes have been so warmly welcomed. We have seen
Would you call it merry and bright?
I would call it very merry and bright. And it has been a really wild year for me personally, for me professionally, and even, for me, I guess emotionally, as somebody who gives so much to this show. A year ago, I was spending a good 10, 12 hours a week editing episodes, and now I get to spend more time doing the research on these projects, and I feel like we develop better episodes with more perspective, and it means the world to me. We've gotten to make incredible fans like Tasty Cake, Tom, who says goodnight to us, and a great good night back to you, Tom. Thank you so much for all that you've given this year. it is really my pleasure to be part of this team with two men that I love more than anything, two men that are in my life for the rest of it. So I am just over the moon to get to feel like the star at the top of this tree tonight, because I'm the top of the pile, not like, I'm the star. But, if for any reason you want to think I'm a star, we should give off places that we can find each other, so you can follow me, tell me I'm a star, tell me I'm beautiful. And I just want to give everybody else a chance to say anything they might want to say on this beautiful Christmas Eve, just a few days after Hanukkah, and just outside of the range of Kwanzaa for those of you who celebrate tons of other things. And I'm sure I'm forgetting something. Kevo?
Yes. Hugely echo everything you're saying. Oh,
I was about to say, no, we call it the Maya Lopez show.
yeah.
That's how we refer to it to not trigger her.
Looking forward to talking about the Maya Lopez show. Looking forward to talking about finishing out this season of Canada's Drag Race eventually.
Okay, beyond the fact that you eliminated the hottest man on television this week, and I will never forgive you for the rest of my life, ever, for the rest of my life. We just could not talk about this without Jonah. So, Kebo, thank you so much for bringing this up.
Yes. So we're excited probably to round this out. Not as excited as we are for season 16 of Drag Race. We're excited to talk about things like this new era of Doctor Who. It was wonderful for 2 weeks talking about the Scream franchise and how much we love those and how much we appreciate them. And we love doing projects like that. We love so many things. And the two different sister shows of X's for Podcast and HTML were really great, but the fact that we were able to marry them together into X's for Show and be able to cover a lot of different things from comics to movies, and to have been able to do this amazing month of holiday content. Definitely check out a lot of the awesome Christmas music that has been uploaded to our YouTube channel. I uploaded an 8-hour loop, as well as 10 individual tracks by our very own Nico Action. Plus, we've covered things like Lego Masters Christmas. We did our holiday marathons listing. We did a holiday toys showdown, as well as a holiday music showdown. And so this has just been a whole lot of fun, and I am really excited for everything that we have planned for the new year. And we only have the first couple of months planned. Who knows what we're going to be doing by June. So I guess you can find me over on the socials, right? There is that. At Kevo Really, that's KEBOREALOY. Teak, would you like to give your own little spiel?
I don't have, I think, a spiel today. I love you all. I've had such a fun year. I love doing this show. Can't wait to do more. I am excited to figure out what the next thing we find that's like Scream, where we're like, oh, we should just, or Monarch, where it's just like, oh, we should just cover all of this. It's probably going to be Melrose Place. But until that happens, you can find me at TK Elemental for all of your Kimberly Shaw memorial thoughts, feelings, essays, songwriting. Talk about a wig reveal. Roxy Andrews, you could never. So anyway, find me at TK Elemental. We'll talk about the greatest doctor in the history of medicine, Brie Vandekamp.
And I just want to say that all of that said, I still think the three best characters on the show are technically Michael's other wives.
Sydney and Jane.
Sydney, Jane, and Megan. I think Megan's the best character on the show.
No, it's Kimberly, but Sydney, Jane, Kimberly.
I need an art print of Michael's angels.
Yeah, I love Michael's wives so much. It's insane. Like I said, a lot of love for this show, a lot of love for our audience, a lot of love for what we do. And every day it gets closer and closer to being something that we get to do with more and more of our time. And that's just such an incredible thing to work toward. And I am so proud to work with these two beautiful men that I love so much, and to get to service an audience who leaves the best comments and just has the best things to say. It's really an honor.
And thankful to all of you.
Yeah. Thanks. So,
This is the Doctor turning to the camera at the end of the Christmas special in the 1960s and saying, "Merry Christmas to all of you." So thank you, genuinely. And we love spending Christmas and every holiday with all of you.
and until we come back to talk about more comics, TV, musicals, music, movies, and more, you can check us out all over this amazing channel at X's for Show. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. You can check me out, Nico Action. That's NICOACTION. And until next time, I'm going to ask you to do 4 things. Number 1, stay merry. Number 2, stay safe. And then the last 2, you guys know, always the same. Be brave, evolve daily, best 2 things you can do. And we will see you on the other side of the merriment.